When everything begins to spiral out of control, when sirens wail, social media erupts, and people rush in every direction, your mind is either your strongest weapon or your biggest weakness. The first key to building a survival mindset is to focus solely on what you can control. In a chaotic world, trying to manage things beyond your influence is a fast track to overwhelm and burnout. But when you discipline your mind to zone in on the immediate, actionable steps, you become clear, calm, and effective in any situation. You can't control when the power grid fails. You can't stop the storm, the riot, the collapse, or the panic on the streets. But you can control your breath. You can decide to take that next step towards safety, light a fire, purify your water, or comfort a crying child. In survival scenarios, people often freeze because they become paralyzed by the weight of the unknown. But the key is to break that weight down into smaller, manageable actions. Focus on what's within your arm's reach. Do the next right thing, that's where your power lies. Even in everyday life, this mindset matters. The same rule applies. Stop feeding your anxiety with things you can't change. Instead, build confidence by executing what you can do. Create a list, gather your supplies, prepare your space, learn that skill you've been putting off. The act of doing even something small will ground you and build your inner strength. When the grid goes down or the systems fail, your ability to stay calm and move forward depends entirely on this principle. Control your internal world first, your breath, your thoughts, your decisions. The outside world may be falling apart, but that doesn't mean you have to. You are not powerless, no matter how it feels. Control the controllable, and from that solid foundation, everything else becomes possible. One of the most vital elements of a survival mindset is emotional discipline. When disaster strikes, emotions surge: fear, panic, anger, grief. If you don't train yourself to manage those emotions, they will manage you. And in a crisis, uncontrolled emotion is dangerous. It leads to poor decision-making, irrational behavior, and in some cases, life-threatening mistakes. But emotional discipline doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means acknowledging your emotions while choosing not to be ruled by them. Let's say the grid goes down, stores are empty, and chaos is brewing in the streets. You're scared. Any rational person would be. But instead of letting fear flood your system, you pause, you breathe. You label the emotion. I'm feeling fear. Then you focus on the task in front of you. That's the skill, recognizing what you feel, processing it, and then acting based on logic, not panic. This takes practice. You don't build emotional discipline overnight. Start now. Put yourself in minor stress situations and train your mind to respond with clarity. Cold showers, fasting, emergency drills, public speaking, anything that makes your heart race but doesn't risk your life. These are mental reps for real-world survival. Another key element is staying emotionally grounded by having a clear purpose. Why are you fighting to survive? Who are you doing it for? What's your mission? If you lose sight of your why, your mind becomes vulnerable to hopeless. But if you hold on to meaning, family, faith, freedom, you stay anchored even in the worst storms. Emotional discipline is what separates survivors from victims. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally strong. You can cry later, you can process the trauma when it's over. But in the heat of the moment, your emotions must be guided, not buried, not ignored, but managed like a tool. In a collapsing world, your emotional discipline is your superpower. While others lose control, you stay centered. While they react, you respond. That difference, just a few seconds of emotional control, can save your life and the lives of others. Situational awareness is one of the most underappreciated yet powerful tools in a survivalist's mental arsenal. It's the ability to stay present, perceive what's happening around you, and correctly interpret that information to make timely, smart decisions. In a chaotic environment where the rules have changed, whether it's a blackout, civil unrest, or natural disaster, being unaware can cost you everything. Survivors aren't just tough. They're observant. They notice the shifts in mood, movement, and environment before others. Think of situational awareness like radar for your brain. You're constantly scanning. What's the energy in the room? Are people panicking? Is there movement down that alley? What direction is the smoke coming from? Are resources dwindling faster than expected? Who is acting erratic and who is calm? You're collecting microsignals that can tell you when to stay put or when to move, who to trust and who to avoid, when to speak and when to stay silent. This skill isn't about being paranoid. It's about being prepared to adapt quickly because you saw the storm before it hit. The earlier you recognize danger, the more time you have to respond rather than react. You're not just noticing what's happening, you're interpreting what it means in real time. That's the key difference. To train this muscle, start now. Leave your phone in your pocket when you're out. Watch people. Listen to sounds. Notice exits. Test yourself by recalling license plates, who entered a room, or what details changed when you weren't looking. These simple games sharpen your edge. During a crisis, a high level of situational awareness will help you avoid crowds, steer clear of threats, find overlooked resources, and recognize early signs of breakdowns in systems before they become traps. While others are glued to their phones or frozen in fear, you'll be moving with purpose. Remember, awareness buys time. And in a disaster, time is life. You don't need to know everything, but you must notice enough to make the next right move. Stay present, stay sharp, stay alive. Because the world doesn't warn you before it turns upside down, it just flips. And when it does, the most aware minds are the ones that endure. Mental discipline is the invisible backbone of survival. It's what keeps your mind steady when everything around you is falling apart. In the middle of a disaster, whether that's a total blackout, a food shortage, or civil unrest, your ability to stay mentally disciplined can mean the difference between making a clear-headed decision or panicking into a mistake. Discipline isn't just about routines. It's about controlling your thoughts, reactions, and emotions when fear, confusion, and chaos start to take over. Imagine waking up to sirens, power out, and people looting in the distance. Most will panic. But a disciplined mind pauses, breathes, assesses, and acts. That pause is everything. It's the gap between impulse and intelligence. Discipline allows you to delay emotion even momentarily to assess the facts. What's really happening? What's the smartest next step? Can I stay put? Should I move? Where is my gear? Who needs help? The undisciplined mind gets stuck in fear loops. The disciplined one moves forward. Mental discipline also means managing your energy. In survival, fatigue kills more than danger does. A disciplined person sets a routine, wake at dawn, boil water, ration food, check supplies, even when there's no one watching. This structure creates control in the uncontrollable. It keeps your brain focused and your body fueled. You make better decisions when you're hydrated, rested, and not wasting energy on worry. To build discipline before disaster, start with small, consistent habits. Wake up early. Train your body. Limit distractions. Learn to do hard things, especially when you don't feel like it. Each time you overcome a comfort, you forge mental armor. When crisis hits, your brain won't be surprised by hardship. It's already practiced. And perhaps most importantly, mental discipline helps you silence the noise, both internal and external. In a world screaming panic, you must be your own calm. Let others flail. You hold the line. That mental toughness will inspire others, protect your group, and keep you focused on the one thing that matters most: survival. Because in the end, it's not the strongest or smartest who endure, it's the most disciplined. Adaptability is the lifeline of survival. When the world turns upside down, rigid thinking becomes a liability. The people who make it through chaos aren't always the ones with the most gear or training. They're the ones who can pivot, adjust, and act on the fly. The survival mindset means letting go of how things should be and embracing what is, moment to moment. That shift, mental flexibility, can keep you alive when plans fall apart, when resources run dry, or when your environment changes without warning. In a crisis, the plan you made yesterday might not work today. Roads you counted on may be blocked. People you trusted might bail. Supplies might get stolen. That's reality. The key is not freezing when your first or second plan crumbles. Instead, adaptability allows you to assess the situation, regroup, and move forward. It's about asking, what now? Not a why me? Adaptable people don't waste time wishing things were different. They adjust. Adaptability also means being creative with what you have. You might have trained for the woods, but end up stuck in a city. You may not have a water filter, but can you build one? You may not have the ideal weapon, but can you improvise? When you're adaptable, every object becomes a tool, every moment a chance to solve. You stop relying on perfect conditions and start working with what's in front of you. Emotionally, adaptability is just as critical. You need to accept discomfort, loneliness, fear, and even failure. You'll face situations that test your patience and your limits. But an adaptable mindset rolls with the emotional punches too. It says, okay, this is hard, but what's the next move? You regulate your emotions instead of reacting. That kind of calm flexibility can keep you grounded when others spiral. To train adaptability now, challenge yourself regularly. Get out of your comfort zone. Hike in bad weather. Cook without electricity. Change your routine. Learn new skills. Take small risks. All of this builds the confidence and mental elasticity you'll need when the world demands it. Because when it comes down to survival, it's not about sticking to a script. It's about writing a new one, fast, smart, and under pressure. Resilience, the ability to bounce back, is the final core of a true survival mindset. When everything around you collapses, when systems fail, when hope feels like it's slipping away, resilience is the force that keeps you moving. It's not about being unaffected by hardship. It's about enduring it, feeling every ounce of the weight, and still choosing to press forward. In a survival situation where mental fatigue, grief, and exhaustion are constant companions, resilience is what keeps your head above water. There will be moments when you're cold, hungry, scared, or alone. The news might be grim, the path forward uncertain, loved ones might be unreachable. You may lose gear, lose ground, or even lose people. That's reality when the world turns chaotic. Resilience allows you to absorb those hits without giving up. It gives you the inner strength to keep making decisions, keep trying, and keep caring, even when your body is tired and your heart is broken. Resilience is often fueled by purpose. You need a reason to keep going. That reason might be your family, your future, or a promise you made to yourself. It might be the simple belief that life is worth fighting for. Without a strong why, it's easy to fall into despair. But with one, even the harshest trials can be endured. That purpose becomes your compass when the world has no map. It also helps to set small goals. Survive one more hour, build that fire, find that water source, solve the next problem. Resilient people take life in chunks. They don't think, how will I survive 90 days? They think, how do I make it through tonight? It's this mindset, focused, grounded in the now, that prevents overwhelm and fuels progress. Resilience is built through exposure. You don't become resilient in theory, you earn it in hardship. That's why embracing challenges now, cold showers, fasting, tough workouts, solo hikes builds your emotional calluses. Each time you struggle and recover, you build a stronger core. You become more capable of handling future adversity. In the end, resilience doesn't mean you never break. It means you always rebuild. It means refusing to let circumstances define you. And when the world goes crazy, the one thing no one can take from you is your will to stand up again.